The world's most popular sporting event kicking off in Brazil. In fact, right now, Brazil is playing Croatia. But so far, it has been far from a smooth start for the games. Controversy over alleged corruption, strikes, and protests have overshadowed the event. The DailyNational's Bako has been following the news surrounding the event very closely. He's back here on XChange, and as you mentioned to me just before we came back, it has been an inauspicious beginning for Brazil because
an own goal of all the things that you could possibly hope for if you're a Brazilian fan, Brazilian countryman, was get off to a good start. Own goal. It just plays right into everything that's been going on leading up to these games.
Why are there protests right now? What are they protesting out on the streets? Because that permeated the games today.
Absolutely. Just before the games, tear gas shot into the streets. Some of the protesters were trying to coordinate.
Yeah, this is not the image you want. It kind of looks like after the Detroit Red Wings, won the Stanley Cup a few years ago, honestly. But that's not what you want to see.
That's not what you want to see. Now, granted, there were only about 100 protesters in the streets, so this was not something where the entire area around the stadium was cordoned off with people. So this is about 100 people. But the image that you're seeing there, tear gas and plastic bullets, rubber bullets being shot at the demonstrators. There was even a CNN camera person that was hit by one of these bullets and by the tear gas. So this is not the media message you want to get out.
Is it fair, though? I mean, because you said there was only about 100 people protesting, and maybe there was an overreaction by Brazilian police force. But is it fair by the media to really be focusing on that?
I think what you're seeing is that this was something that was going on all the way up to this moment. So now, granted, this was 100 people, but they've had protests where there have been hundreds of thousands of people in the street protesting against this. When all is said and done, Brazil loves its football. It loves its players. People were not protesting in the streets because they wanted to be home to watch this first game.
And they're protesting because, like you said, they do love their football, but because of the billions of dollars being spent on these games in an economy that has fallen apart.
Economy fallen apart, and what it was spent on, yes, for the stadiums, but also promised infrastructure, moving people out of slums to build stadiums, but they move those people into even worse slums. So when you have an education system that's failing, when you have a president who has to go on national TV on the eve of the games and basically fall on her sword and say, hey, let's cheer for these games. Let's hope that these games are a success. It's going to be a success for everyone. That's not what we're seeing with these games.
Where do they stand right now with the stadium and with the infrastructure?
So stadiums right now, they're going to play the games, whether they're safe or not, whether they're fully verified or not.
Do you think they're safe?
I would not want to be at the upper reaches of the main stadium in Sao Paulo, 80,000 people that they're going to cram in there. They hosted a game earlier over the weekend where they only allowed 40,000 people in there. So they may be safe from a structural standpoint, but you don't really know what's going to happen once they get all those people in there.
Again, this is going to be overcome if the games are a success and if the matches are exciting.
Absolutely. As long as the matches are exciting, if Brazil goes even further, get some of that national pride going, but as long as the games are a success, and even if the games aren't that great, people are so invested in this. People are taking off from work. It's almost a world holiday. Here in the States, Super Bowl is a holiday. This is the world's holiday.
If people are taking off from work for the next 2 weeks, that can't be good for the economy.
That can't be good for the economy in specific, Brazil, Spain, Germany, Italy. It's almost built in that they know that every 4 years, people are just not going to be in the streets, not in the cafes. They're going to be watching.
Do you think Brazil has been sold a bill of goods in getting these games?
I think every country, every nation that goes after these games or the Olympic Games is sold a bill of goods. The bill coming due to FIFA is in the billions of dollars in terms of revenue coming in from TV and different entities and sponsorships. None of that money, very little of it, funnels down to Brazil. They're really hoping for tourism to drive and national recognition to drive people to make up their money.
30 seconds left. There's a call for FIFA's president to quit over the situation of Qatar and the alleged bribery scandal going on there. Is he going to step down?
I don't think so. I think he's looking at this as his mandate and his platform to say he can be the one that cleans up FIFA. He has not demonstrated any ability to do that.
Yeah, well, he created the mess. So
yeah,
some would argue. Mike Bako, thank you so much. Tomorrow on XChange, we're going to take a look on the ongoing debate over tenure for schools and their teachers. Now for another look